We're living in some times where it's tempting to ask, where's a safe place? We're being instructed to stay indoors, stay at home, avoid people. In these situations, fear and doubt can creep in if we're not careful. It's interesting, leading up to this week, the Lord began to speak to my heart and cause me to ponder and reflect and meditate on Psalm 91, specifically verse 1. You know, in times of crisis and times of trouble and times of need, we're told from the time we're very young to dial 911. And Psalm 91:1 is something that you and I should remember in times of crisis and times of trouble. And in times like these, when we just want to find a safe place, the Lord's been speaking to me over and over again. It's been so comforting. It's been so encouraging. As a matter of fact, I even taught from Psalm 91 last Sunday in church. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Under that shadow, under His covering, is the safest place in all the earth. And the larger the object, the longer the shadow it casts. And God is infinite. He is almighty. And He is our refuge, our shelter, a place that we can run and take refuge, hide, if you will, feel safe under the shadow of the Almighty. The psalmist says, where can I flee from your spirit? And the answer through the rest of the psalm makes it clear there is no place. He is omnipresent. He is everywhere. And He promises, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. In the Psalms, this idea being under the shadow is repeated multiple times. And just like in Psalm 91, it's a promise. And I'll say it again, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And then in another place, in Psalm 36, the psalmist makes a proclamation. In Psalm 36, verse 7, he says this, how excellent is thy loving kindness, O God. Therefore, the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. First, we see it's a promise. And second, here in Psalm 36, verse 7, it's a proclamation of truth that the psalmist declares. His loving kindness is what causes us to find shelter under the shadow of His wings. And then we find in the Psalms two prayers, and I've made this my prayer during this time, and I'm encouraging you to make it your prayer. The first one is found in Psalm 17:8, where the psalmist says this, keep me as the apple of your eye, and hide me under the shadow of your wings. Keep me as the apple of your eye, and hide me under the shadow of your wings. And then in Psalm 57, verse 1, the psalmist says, be merciful unto me, O God. Be merciful unto me. For my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpassed. I don't know how long this is going to go on. There's all different types of conflicting information. But it's my prayer, whether it's short or long, like the psalmist, and I'd like to read it again. He says, "Be merciful unto me, O God, be merciful unto me, for my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge, until these calamities be overpassed." This idea is a promise. It's a proclamation. We find two prayers in the Psalms. And if we'll believe the promise, if we'll declare the proclamation, if we'll pray these prayers, then lastly, I believe, and let me read in Psalm 63, verse 7. This idea will also be our praise. In Psalm 63, verse 7, the psalmist says, "Because thou hast been my help, therefore, in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice." Claim the promise today. Shut out the fear and the doubt by declaring the proclamation. Continually pray the prayer and praise the Lord for being able to hide under the shadow of His wings. It is the safest place, and if today you find yourself there, you are safe and secure.